eyes on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new pair of shoes. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, can you buy me a crown? Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, buy me a crown, oh my. All eyes on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new pair of shoes. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, can you buy me a crown? Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who's trying to write me off, All eyes on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new parachute. I got the attention, I'm on a mission. No sweat in the way I step, I got a fresh new attitude. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. But the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh.
You are on the right path. You are on the right journey. The journey of self-discovery, the journey of self-love, the journey of self-empowerment. Stay on this journey. What's up, fellas? I'm back in here. Men's Superpower, David Hughes is in the house for another live, another stream. I want to talk to you about purpose before woman, or purpose before vagina, purpose before pussy. But of course, it's a struggle because we are naturally wired to seek the vagina. We are wired to allocate crazy amount of resources to the pursuit and the attainment of the vagina. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a man devoting crazy amount of resources to the pursuit of the vagina. Usually how life plays out is the man who can catch himself from a younger age, and we're talking about late 20s, early 30s, ends up having a better life. He ends up correcting his course of life. But then, but it happens sometimes that some men don't have the realization, don't catch themselves, and they don't make the switch until late 40s, early 50s. What's the switch? The switch of putting one's purpose first, a man's purpose first before a woman. And this is not because we have a problem with the woman. This is not because we don't like her, or this is not because we despise her. In fact, part of the reason why we want to put our purpose first is so that we are better ready to deal with her. It is so that we are better prepared to manage a relationship with her, so that we get the advantage in being chosen by the ones that we truly desire, not necessarily those that we don't desire, but for them, we are it. So that's why we want to put our purpose first. That's why we want to put our vision, our goals, our dreams first. And why would I be interested in that myself? Well, I mean, like the rest of you, I've made the same mistake. Growing up, I used to hear women are not gonna go anywhere. Stop chasing women. Stop chasing the skirt. They're always going to be around. Focus on yourself. Focus on your education. Focus on your money. Focus on building yourself. Man, that never penetrated my mind. It never penetrated my soul. I never gave heed to that. I never considered that because it was like rubbish. Like, man, this is trash. I'm trying to get some pussy, man. It's pussy is good. I'm trying to bust a nut. I'm trying to get into these girls' guts. So forget about putting myself first. Until I ran into situations where the women that I wanted men who were pursuing their purpose. They wanted men who had some action in their lives. They wanted men who were running businesses, who were completing their undergrad and graduate school, men who were involved in the community, basically a man on his purpose. That's who they wanted, although those women never said it. But in so many ways, in so many behaviors, in so many actions, eventually that's what I understood. That's what came. And we know hypergamy is a true game. And really, that's the number one or number two reason that we ought to pursue our purpose before women. That's hypergamy, so that we are always winning in hypergamy, so that we are always positioned as the next best choice for our situation. Now, we're not trying to compete with Joe down the street. What we're trying to do is be the next best guy for whatever pool of women that we are dealing with, whatever pool of women that we are surrounded by at any given moment in our own personal and particular situation. Because every man has his own personal and particular situation. That's why we want to pursue our purpose. Because every time we choose ourselves, as you already know from the many, many, many guys in the manosphere who have said that, when you choose yourself, the woman chooses you. When you neglect yourself, when you neglect your purpose, she neglects you and she despises you. It's a natural wiring in her. It's a biological wiring for safety and the caring of her offsprings. She can't really do anything about it. We, as men who have awakened, we as men who understand, now have to make we have to adapt. And that's the second reason that we want to pursue our purpose first. We want to pursue our calling first. And before I get too far, I do want to touch on purpose, because a lot of times that could be an elusive thing. You hear purpose in the mind of the average man. Purpose could be something very far out. Purpose is simply a goal and an aim, an objective, or a decision to operate within your own personal gift. And of course, you have many gifts. So whatever that might be, that's what a purpose is. That's what pursuing your purpose is. It is essentially pursuing that which you agree to pursue, that which you believe is good for your life, that which you believe is good for yourself, that which is getting you somewhere in this life. That's what we call a purpose. A purpose is not necessarily something that's handed to you by God or by deity, and this is what the path that you should follow. And if you don't, then there will be really harsh consequences for not following. I know there's this aspect in of purpose out there in the world, having been in the Christian church, having served in the Judeo Christian church. I know there's a lot of confusion associated with purpose, a lot of confusion associated with a man's calling, and that the calling of God is without repentance. And if you change your mind, or if you don't follow whatever purpose that you're being told is your purpose from God, then you might incur some really harsh divine punishment and encounter the wrath of God. That's not what we're talking about here. We have awakened from that. We understand the truth now. We know the truth now. We're talking about an aim, a goal, a definite target, something that we want to accomplish, whether it be earning something, building something, getting something, or operating in a natural capacity, such as the musician or the painter. Those are natural capacity, or even speaking, acting. Those are cooking and building stuff. Those are natural abilities and talents that we can nurture. That's what we mean by operating in your purpose, operating in your calling. And so when you do so, you end up not only creating a more fulfilling life for yourself, you also help society, because by bettering yourself, you also better society, because you are part of society. You are interconnected with society, and we are interdependent, although we are dependent at the same time. And the term true independence does not exist. It's really an interdependence that exists. It's we weave into each other, we support each other, we help each other. So what happens is, when you're not operating in your purpose, all you're doing is you're helping other individuals pursue and build their purpose, but you're not in yours. So then you're not building yours, and that's one. And because you're not building it, you're not reaching that level of fulfillment, and you're not blessing society either. Remember, now we are interdependent. So there is something for you to contribute to society. There is something for you to give to us. There is a gift in you that when you operate in it, it will bless me. It will bless the other people around you. Just as stepping into this part of my purpose, which is speaking and encouraging and blessing people with my voice, stepping into that gets to bless you, right? When you come on when you watch a video or when you listen to a podcast, you get to be blessed. So when we all operate into our own particular purpose, we get to contribute to the unfoldment of society. And so you do us a disservice when you are not operating in your purpose. And lastly, you rob yourself of incredible amount of fulfillment, joy, and self-confidence for yourself. As I said recently in the last podcast, the highest vibration that a man can maintain is the pursuit of his purpose. That's the highest level of joy, the highest level of fulfillment, the highest level of personal power that you can walk into. And that is to pursue your purpose. And so when you are not operating in your purpose, what you do is you operate on a lower than possible vibration. which means your odds of having bad days will be greater than if you were operating in your purpose. You know, the artist's art is a comfort to her. The writing of the writer, the author's writing is a comfort to him. When he goes into that corner to sit to write, he's comforted. Uh, the piano, the musical piece of a instrument player is a comfort area. It's where they find balance. It's where they connect with their higher self, with their inner place of power. And so by not operating in your purpose, you don't get to connect with the muse. You don't get to connect with the dispenser of gift or the dispenser of inspiration and motivation. And if I may tie this back to my last podcast on motivation, it's not motivation that we lack, it's purpose that we lack. Because we don't have a purpose, then we cannot connect to the muse of motivation. And so we don't have motivation. Motivation is not something, it's not a placeholder. You cannot just have motivation for having motivation. Motivation is something you have that is tied to a specific goal, calling, desire, or idea. So generally when people ask questions about motivation, when people talk about looking for motivation or why they are not motivated, they're talking about motivation as if it were a placeholder, something that's there to have. No, it must be tied to a purpose. It must be tied to a goal. So you are motivated to continue on the journey of this particular goal, or you're not, or else you won't have any motivation. So let's see, how many guys do we have in the house? It's good to have whatever number that we have. It's good to have you here. Give me a few likes, guys. Oh, yeah, you're already doing a great job at that. And so I'm going to read the chapter on your purpose must come before your relationship from the book The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. Your purpose must come before your relationship. And everything I just said is in here. But a lot of times reading it or hearing it from me may not even be enough for you to take it into consideration. You want to have to experience your own painful situation in order to actually consider this. All right, guys. So let's hear something in the chat room. Who's here? Any questions so far? What's up, fellas? What's up? Well, awesome, awesome, Pastor Coleman. To it's good to have you. I am doing wonderfully. Thank you very much, and I hope that you are doing as wonderfully. All right, so let's read a couple of paragraphs from the book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, a pretty popular book in the manosphere. You are right. You are actually right. Yeah, the mic was muted over here. Um, in this scene. Correct. Thank you. I appreciate that, Pastor Coleman. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I said that I was going to highlight the part that I'm reading so that you guys can follow along. I said your purpose must come before your relationship. This is uncommon wisdom because the average man, the average young man, thinks that he needs to pursue a relationship before he pursues the betterment of himself, before he pursues the betterment of his life, whatever that might be, whether it's education, seeking opportunities. Um, it's a tragedy, but then again, it's not a tragedy because we are naturally wired to seek the woman. We are naturally wired to seek the company and the pleasure of a woman. So let's read. Every man knows that his highest purpose in life cannot be reduced to any particular relationship. Not every man. Not every man. Um, if a man prioritizes his relationship over his highest purpose, he weakens himself, deserves the universe, and cheats his woman of an authentic man who can offer her full, undivided attention. I'm going to read that again. If a man prioritizes his relationship over his highest purpose, he weakens himself, disservices the universe, and cheats his woman of an authentic man who can offer her full, undivided presence. Listen, I've experienced this firsthand. Was in the process of finding my purpose. My mind was always busy with things that I want to do in this life, places I want to go, but yet I was in a relationship and I was pursuing the relationship before focusing on my highest purpose, right? And so what ended up happening is exactly what's here. I was divided in my mind. Therefore, I was weak. And so there were times my ex and I were having a great time, but in my mind, I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm just here, just wasting time. Oh my God, I'm in this relationship. Oh, I'm supposed to be in Atlanta. My goal is, my desire is to be in Atlanta, to be creating and to be going places. But here I am seeking this relationship. So I was always divided. And so I would send her mixed signals, and my behaviors would be full of mixed signals. Because she'll be like, well, I think you're confused too. I don't think you want to be. You're saying that we want to get married, but then again, you're talking about going way out there and getting involved with these people and doing things. I'm like, no. Well, I want this relationship. So I ended up weakening myself. So I was weak in the relationship. I never could show up as my full and complete self, because I was divided on the inside. I was not 100% focused on the relationship, because on the inside, I wanted to pursue my calling. I wanted to pursue my purpose. I wanted to be out there making things happen. I wanted to be out there speaking and working with people. That's what I wanted to be out there doing. And so, as he said here, he weakens himself, disservice the universe, and that's the part that I talked about earlier, where by not operating in your highest calling, you stop the process of interdependence that exists between us, right? So you get to depend on the rest of us, of the rest of society, but then society doesn't get your participation. You don't get to put something out there that blesses somebody. You don't get to serve the universe as well. You don't get to add something to the basket, and all you're doing is taking from the basket. So you disservice, you do a disservice to the universe. And here is where you cheat your woman of an authentic man who can offer her a full, undivided attention. Exactly what I was telling you, exactly what I experienced. I couldn't be fully present with her. I couldn't be fully committed, although I was saying it, but my behavior was saying something else. And that created all kinds of confusion and issues in the relationship, because deep down, my calling, my purpose was calling me on, was calling me forward. And there I was trying to seek and trying to pursue a relationship. And so I could not show up as the most dynamic, powerful, confident, sure man that I can be. And I believe this much is true, and you're gonna confirm that some of the happiest people out there in relationships are individuals, both men and women, who are actually operating in their own calling, their own purpose. That is, they're pursuing what they believe they are supposed to be pursuing, and that brings them fulfillment, and that empowers them, and that gives them joy, and they feel fully expressed, and they feel fully dynamic. And so when they meet with their partner who supposedly is doing the same, then it's like electricity. It's like they catch on fire, because first of all, they have a lot of stories to tell each other. Then they provide support to each other. And then they don't have the burden of carrying the creation of joy and happiness for the other person, because the other person is finding purpose and happiness in their own pursuit. And it's a heavy burden. And that's another thing too. When your man is not pursuing his purpose, you put so much burden on the woman. It's not even funny because you become neurotic, and that neurosis is exists because you're not satisfied, you're not happy, and you magnify her flaws. Little thing that she does becomes a big thing because now you have the time to focus on flaws. You have the time to rectify stuff. You have the time to talk about all sorts of things because you're not pursuing anything. And if she says something that if you were pursuing something you would probably overlook, or now you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what did you say? And now you're engaged in it as opposed to, I heard that, but I'm busy for now, or I have some things to do right now, or I cannot afford messing my mood up for today because I have some things to do. I have some people to coach. I have some people to work with. I have some proposals to write. I have some spoken word creations to do. And so you end up becoming neurotic because you depend on the woman and the relationship to provide you with a sense of satisfaction that they, meaning the woman and the relationship, cannot really provide for you. A woman cannot provide love and satisfaction for a man. A man finds love and satisfaction and joy in the pursuit of his calling, in his work. And then he brings that joy and that fulfillment to the woman, whether it be at home or if they're dating and they live at different places. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how those individuals end up feeling the most dynamic between themselves. And so it's unfair and really unbearable, because I've done it, to not be working on yourself, on stuff that you're supposed to be working, and you end up becoming neurotic and putting a lot of pressure on the woman that you're with to please you. You magnify her flaws. I mean, it's a mess. For example, back in the recession in 2008, 9, 10, a lot of marriages, a lot of relationships went sour. And yeah, financial reasons were among the reasons, but a lot of it had to do with people not having jobs, being at home, basically not staying busy, not pursuing anything. And psychologically, they magnified flaws. And now arguments that would last 20 minutes now lasted 3 days. You understand? And that's I don't want to say an inherent flaw in the human psyche, but that's what we do. If we're not pursuing anything worthy of our attention, we turn that attention towards anything else, whether that thing is negative or not. And we're not going to talk about, well, that's just a woman thing. Men would do it too. It's not just a woman thing that if they're not busy, then they will magnify issues and they will gossip and so men will do the same too. So the same thing that just happened for COVID-19, right? With a lot of people being at home, a lot of relationships are being impacted and will continue to be impacted because people were home and issues get to be magnified. The level of dissatisfaction skyrocketed because people are not producing. They're not operating in their calling. They're not being satisfied for producing something that they are proud of. And so by not operating in your calling, you rob your woman of an authentic man who can offer her undivided presence. Let's continue. Admit to yourself that if you had to choose one or the other, the perfect intimate relationship or achieving your highest purpose in life, you would choose to succeed at your purpose. You would choose to succeed at your purpose. Let me read that again. Admit to yourself that if you had to choose one or the other, the perfect intimate relationship or achieving your highest purpose in life, you would choose to succeed at your purpose. Yeah, and that is true. What I've heard during my time in the church is men thrive on significance, and work is a big part of what creates significance. Women thrive on relationship. So, which means a woman can thrive without work. Women were thriving back in the days when society was very male dominant. Like the kind of work that existed was really mostly men who can do them. Women still thrived. Well, actually, women were thrived probably even more now then, because they had time to get into relationships. So they had time to develop things. They had time to serve their purpose in backing society, by backing the men and raising children. Okay. And so a woman will thrive on relationships alone. I mean, given that she's going to have her job, but without even having to pursue a specific calling. But you are wired for significance. And this is not an ego thing. You're not accomplishing things because you have a big ego and you want people to praise you. No, you are wired to do so. You are wired to create things and make things happen that gives you the highest level of satisfaction. And so you thrive on significance while a woman thrives on relationship. So if you know this knowledge and you had to choose between your purpose and a woman in a relationship, perfect intimate relationship, you would choose your purpose. Because you know what's gonna end up happening most likely in that perfect intimate relationship is, because you're not pursuing your purpose, because you did not choose your purpose, you would soon turn neurotic. It would soon disintegrate, because you will not be operating in your power in that relationship. Just this self-knowledge often relieves much pressure a man feels to prioritize his relationship, when in fact it is not his highest priority. And I said that earlier. When I got the knowledge, and that's where I'm going to stop for that, because you get more the idea, and it's more than an idea. When I got the knowledge and the understanding that I needed to pursue my calling, I needed to agree to lose the love that I had at the time because it wasn't working, and that focusing on my purpose and my highest calling, I felt relieved. I felt liberated and therefore empowered to take action and move into that direction. And I want to tell you, almost a year and a half later, man, I've been so happy. I've already accomplished so many things, because those things were just sitting on the shelf. They were just pushed into a corner. They were just on the back burner. All I had to do was pull them up to the front burners and put action behind them. And I'm very satisfied. And I know for a fact, for the past year and a half, had I still been in that relationship, I wouldn't be as satisfied. I wouldn't feel as powerful and dynamic as I feel. I wouldn't have blessed so many people that I have blessed, and met so many individuals that I have met. And so I wanted to come on here and remind you of this fact. Choose your purpose over a woman. I'll see you again. Remember, you are on the right path. You are on the right journey. Stay blessed. You are on the right path. You are on the right journey. The journey of self-discovery. The journey of self-love. The journey of self-empowerment. stay on this journey.